hope that you can get some comfort from this, some relief from maybe those anxious thoughts that a lot of you are going through. All of us are going through at times, whether for a few minutes at a time, or maybe you just feel in full-blown panic and having anxieties all the time. I'm going to go through 3 different sort of techniques. And if anyone has any questions, you can post them in the comment. You can email me through my website, indianahypnosisforchange.com. My name is Tony Macri-Reiner. And the first thing I want to share with you is something called tapping. You might have heard of this. It's actually tapping on your meridian system. It's kind of like emotional acupuncture, but don't worry, there's no needles involved. You can see where I'm tapping here. You grab your wrist, take a deep breath, and blow out. Now that's kind of the mechanic. Those are kind of the mechanics of what you do. Tapping between your eyebrows, the side of your eye, under your eye, collarbone, your wrist. Take a deep breath and go to a good place, but I'll get to that. So to explain this a little bit, what you want to do is, first of all, find a good place. What's your mental aha moment? Is it hanging out with your family, your pets? Is it a great vacation you've been to? Is it thinking about being at the beach or in the mountains, in the forest? Take a moment and find that place for yourself. Now, if you can't find a good place, then just be in the moment. Feel your feet on the floor, feel where your body's resting in the air around you. So what you want to do to make this work, if you just start doing this, you're kind of just hitting yourself in the head, because what you want to do is light up that place in your brain where that problem exists. Because when your neurons that fire together wire together, and when you think of things over and over again, or you feel things over and over again, experience maybe tightness in your chest, random racing thoughts, your neurons have to fire somewhere. They have to do that work to get there. And the more you do it, the easier it is to go there to the problem area. Now, let me stop here and say that you can use this for all kinds of things: fears, worries, stresses, anxieties. You can use this for cravings, especially if you're a smoker right now. It's one of the best things you can do to fight this COVID-19 is to stop smoking. So you can use this for cravings as well. So what you want to do is you want to ask yourself the big question: how do I know I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing? How do I know I'm feeling anxious? Well, I use the word feeling, so that's a clue. But how are you feeling it? Does your stomach knot up? Does your chest feel tight? Do you feel a weight on your shoulders? Maybe you're picturing things down the road. Maybe you're picturing things not turning out, or all the what ifs. Maybe you're smelling, tasting, or hearing something. Maybe you're looking at something. Take a moment and notice how you know. Just notice. You might say, I don't know, it just is. Well, notice the knowing. I just know this stuff's bothering me, or I'm feeling a certain way, whatever's going on. Now, with working with clients in my office, I always have them rate it. Let's rate it. 0 is neutral, 10 is the strongest. So just kind of rate it so you can judge the change. Once you have that, you have figured that out, what's going on inside of you. Now, it's not the story about what's going on in the world or what's going on with anyone else. It's what's going on inside of you. Once you're doing that, you are lighting that place up in your brain. That's what we want. Now, once you've lit that place up in your brain and you're noticing in yourself what's going on, then you start tapping. And when you're tapping, you only notice your fingertips. Notice the feeling of them. Just keep noticing. Now I'm using 3. You can use 2 fingers. I use 3 fingers. Tap. You can use both hands. You can use one hand. You can touch. You can rub. Doesn't matter. But when you're doing this, just notice. Then grab your wrist. Deep breath. Blowing out. Now go to your good place. Be at the beach. Be in that good memory. Make it bigger and brighter. Wrap it around you. Really experience it. Do that for a few seconds and then go back and notice what's changed. How are you feeling now? What's going on? Some of you might have changed just a little bit. Maybe you're just down a little bit. If it was a 10, maybe you're down to like an 8.5. Some of you might have just dropped and you're like, oh my gosh, I can really feel a difference. Whatever it is, if you have stuff left that you're still feeling inside, go back and do it again. Tapping. grabbing your wrist. Now there is a lot of information about tapping on the internet. Like I said, this is a certain kind I used. It's called Faster EFT, emotionally. Oh, I can't even remember what the letters stand for right at this moment. It doesn't matter. But it's on my website under services. At the bottom it says FEFT, and it will show you the tapping points. There's actually something you could probably print out from there. If you go to a Google search of images, you can find it as well. And there is a reference. There are a couple of videos on there that you can watch. This is by Robert Smith, who developed this kind of tapping. And I reference on YouTube, his channel, I reference an old video of his, but it's really helpful to walk you through how to do it. So there's that, tapping. Use it. It really works. The next thing that I want to do is when you're feeling really anxious or having one of those moments, one of the best things you can do to begin to shift that emotional state is to change something in your physiology. One of the best things to do is to relax your tongue, the back of your throat, and drop your jaw. So try that for a moment. When you relax the back of your tongue and your jaw, what you're doing is helping take pressure off of your vagus nerve, which travels through your body, and it helps release the fight, flight, or freeze response in our bodies. So try that. The other thing to do is, of course, everyone says take a deep breath. Well, that is one of the best things you can do, but often when we're in that highly charged emotional state, it's really difficult to do that. So if you begin by just noticing your breathing several times a day for 2 to 3 minutes if you can, or as long as you can do it, just notice what your breathing is like. What you're doing when you're noticing your breath is you're bringing yourself back to the present moment. And 99.9% of the time when in the present moment, we are okay. You might have a roof over your head, you have food to eat, whatever it is, in that moment you were okay. It's when we start thinking into the future, all of the what ifs, that's when we start spiraling into our body responding. Because we're using our unconscious mind to imagine things. So our unconscious mind, let me back up, that kind of didn't make sense. Our unconscious mind always thinks it's now. So when you start thinking about the future, the uncertainty and the fears, what you're doing, your unconscious mind thinks that's happening now, and it responds as if it is. Then you could go into fight, flight, or freeze. You could feel really angry. You could feel upset. The more you stay in the present moment, right now I'm okay, and tapping does help you to do that, you're okay. But when you notice your breath, and it may not change anything for a while, but the more you practice doing that, at some point, if you're in one of those moments where it doesn't feel like everything's okay, and maybe it isn't okay, and you go back to noticing your breath, it grounds you. So try that as well. Something else that I want to mention is something I call move it away. Now, I often use this in conjunction with the tapping, but you don't have to. So if you were to notice in your mind's eye where the stress, maybe you have a picture of something happening, you have a picture of things not working out, just the idea of a stress. For me, sometimes it's just a fog around me. I feel a pressure of everything that I need to take care of, or everything that's happening pressing on me. So it's not a clear visual. Maybe for me, it's like a foggy smoke. But notice what it is for you. If there's something in particular you're picturing, maybe you're hearing something, or you're picturing something you're reading online that's causing you distress. When you have that, take a moment and notice where that picture is in your mind's eye. Is it close to you? Is it far away? Is it to the side? Your brain codes things that are important and or scary as being up close to you and big and colorful. It's just the way your brain can tell that something's important. So if you took the image of that in any way that works for you, even just a sense of it, and move it away, move it across the room, make it small, take the color out of it, sink it down to the floor so it's just a little picture. You can barely see what it is. Maybe it's a postage stamp size. And then notice, from way over there and where you are, what's that like now? You have more space around you. It doesn't mean you're not going to take care of the things way over there. You will. You'll deal with things as they come up. But what it means is you can have more space around you to think and to deal with stuff and to get it away from you. Now, sometimes what I do is I have people imagine what that is just as I walked you through that. Where's the problem? What's that you're picturing? Maybe it's the idea of eating too much. If we're stuck at home now, I know I've been baking quite a bit. What that stuff that it's like, you wouldn't be eating that on a normal basis. Maybe it's a little too much. Where's the picture of that? Notice how you want that. Maybe it smells good. Feel it in your mouth. Move the picture of it away. Make it small. And as you're still noticing it, just tap on it. Notice it first. And then just tap. Feeling your fingers. Deep breath. Go to your good place for a moment. And then notice if you want that quite as much. Those are my suggestions. I hope those are helpful. In the next day or two, I'm going to be posting also a short hypnotic session. We can call it a guided meditation. It's just something to help you relax. You could maybe play it before you go to sleep to help yourself ease into a restful sleep. So my website is indianahypnosisforchange.com. If you look at the tab under services down at the bottom, and I'm going to change that, hopefully change that today, that it's actually a tab instead of in the sub menu. But look for FEFT, Faster EFT. It will explain the tapping. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Stay safe.